Welcome to Under the Hood Marketing, where we're going to be breaking down what's actually driving your demand engine. And so, for starters, I think that most marketing strategies today are built backwards. And, it's the reason why a lot of campaigns maybe don't perform the way teams expect them to. And so, one problem is, as these teams sit down and they're planning out a marketing strategy, you may start with certain questions like, all right, should we be investing more in the LinkedIn? Is CTV worth testing right now? Do I need to do better retargeting? Increasing spend in Google ads, right? And I think on the surface, these are all fair questions. But the problem is they're all very channel focused. And the reality is your buyers aren't experiencing your marketing in segments, right? Like nobody's waking up thinking, okay, I'm going to engage with some LinkedIn ads today, or, maybe then I'll click on retargeting and convert through search. Like that's not how things work. What actually happens is a lot messier. And honestly, it's more human too. So, a person may, see your brand on TV while they're at home, or maybe somebody's heard about you from a colleague and they decide to, search up your company a few days later, or, click on some paid ads. They come back later through some retargeting. So this is not exactly a clean funnel, but it's a realistic customer journey. And when you build your strategy around, just individual channels, I think essentially you're trying to optimize pieces of the journey without really understanding how everything works in tandem. And so I think instead of, having to, think about, all right, what channel should I be investing in? A better place to start is, how are buyers actually discovering us? How are they engaging with the content? And then ultimately what's leading them to take decisive action. Because if you don't understand the journey, right, like we may overinvest in channels that are, capturing demand, but we also might underinvest in places where we could be creating it. And now we're missing the connections between those two worlds entirely. And so for me, this is exactly why, over the course of, the next few videos, I want to break down just the way that modern marketing actually works. And, looking at everything from how attention is created to how to build engagement, how conversion actually happens, and most importantly, how these different channels are playing as a part of a system. Because, once you start thinking in terms of systems instead of channels, I think a lot of confusion around marketing starts to go away. And, we can start making decisions that actually drive more consistent growth, and growth is just measurable as well. So until next time, I'm going to be uploading more content. Keep that marketing engine running strong, and we'll be back later for more looks under the hood. Bye.